Hello folks, we're back. We want to invite you to a very special time, an important time, because now it's the beginning of our questions and answers over that book of Exodus. Yes, indeed. I'm Dick.
I'm Nancy.
She's there. Your Aquila and Priscilla team in 2021, January. How about that?
How'd that be us?
That's us. Book of Exodus. This is the second book of Moses. Now, we don't often think of it like that. No. We do know that Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Old Testament, but we really don't stop to think about it. But anyway, this is the second book of Moses. And that word Exodus means a going forth. So you see, it gets its name from the departure of the Israelites from Egypt. And a great deal of this will be a typical, or in character, typical of many things. For example, when we look forward to the fullness of time and Jesus, our Redeemer, remember he was born in Bethlehem, he went to Egypt, and he came out of Egypt. And later in the Corinthian letter, we're taught that we are in the bondage of sin. And when we come out of that bondage, we are baptized. Just like the Israelites came out of bondage, passed through the Red Sea and the water surrounding them, and in a sense they were baptized and came out of there to walk in a newness of life. So there's a lot of the teaching in Exodus that is very typical. Now Moses declared himself to be the author of Exodus when you read Exodus 24 verse 4. And Jesus, when he was here on earth, declared or affirmed that Moses was the author in Mark 12:26. So we have a lot to look forward to here, folks. And it's going to be an exciting venture. I think I like the book of Exodus about as much as any of the books of Old Testament history. So we're glad and excited that we can spend this time with you. Questions and answers. Not a lot of questions over the first chapters here, but we'll get started, chapter 1. And the first question is this. The first 5 verses of Exodus 1, they tell us of what group of people?
Well, it tells us the names of the children of Israel who came into Egypt.
Yes, first 5 verses. It's kind of interesting to read over those names, know that they're in a part of our history, part of us, we a part of them. Number 2, what was true of the children of Israel at this period of time?
Well, they were very industrious, they were fruitful, multiplying and filling the land.
Yes. You know, when God's on your side, things do turn out better. It may not seem like it, but I tell you folks, when you live the Christian way, a whole lot of nice things happen to you that you may not be aware of, that doesn't come to the doorstep of those who don't believe in Christ. Something to think about. Next question, what had taken place on the throne of Egypt?
Well, they got a new king, and he didn't even know Joseph.
No, that's why it's important when you think about this, and even our own country, it's important for the leader or leaders to read their history past. Same way in the church. Those people of old-time faith need to be considered because there was a reason for their old-time faith. Some of the new is not always so nice. So, history past, this king would have done well to read about Joseph. But that didn't happen, and this is the way it goes. What did this new king conclude?
Well, he was fearful that they were getting so large and so big. He says, they might turn against Egypt, so I'm going to have to afflict them and make slaves out of them.
Yes. Now, why didn't he look into this angle? That maybe being the best of friends with these people, they could have been a safeguard for him. No, our minds travel negative if we aren't careful. So he was going to make slaves. Next question, what happened when they did this?
Well, the children of Israel just kept growing their families.
More and more. Put us under pressure and we do a bigger job. Anyway, what then did Pharaoh do?
Well, he oppressed them even more.
Yeah. What demand did Pharaoh make of the midwives?
He says, I want you to kill every baby boy that's born.
Uh-oh. Hey, that gets serious. With the abortion picture of our day, you start playing around with our children and our babies, something's going to happen because God doesn't go for that. God is very mindful of the widow and the orphan, and don't you think that includes the unborn? Yes, indeed. A whole lot of trouble started because of this. How did the midwives respond to this situation?
Well, they feared God, and they said, we are not killing our baby boys.
Right. Now, there's always going to be some people that don't go along with the worldly ideas. Now, they may be smaller in number, but they're going to be there and be counted. What did the midwives tell Pharaoh when he questioned them?
They said that the Hebrew wives are strong and they deliver the babies without the midwives.
Yeah, we don't need you. The human mind, with the wisdom of God, is a wonderful, powerful thing here on earth. We will figure out some way with God's help to get around the evil. Did this please God?
You bet it did.
Here's the last question for this chapter. What did Pharaoh then demand?
Well, then he said, I want you to throw all the little baby boys into the river.
Yeah. Now notice in the verse 21 of the first chapter there, and it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, he made them houses. Now, I don't know if we can deduct exactly what all this means, but I'm sure we can know that God blessed the midwives and he caused them to prosper. So this is what's going to happen when you gang up on God's people. You're ganging up on God. So think about it. The Bible in the New Testament says that God careth for us, careth for you. So God's going to take care of his people. And this is a lot of goodness in the first chapter of Exodus. So we're on our way. We're getting started. Come back and join us again, will you please?